It was a bustling winter morning, and the toy factory was alive with activity. Machines roared as if they were racing against time, their unending hum filling every corner of the space. Workers moved swiftly, their hands assembling toys with practiced precision. Yet, despite the festive season, the mood inside was far from cheerful. The factory walls were lined with twinkling lights and bright decorations. Garlands hung from the ceiling, and banners with cheerful holiday messages promised joy to everyone outside these walls. But inside, the atmosphere was heavy. Workers exchanged quiet glances, their movements tense as they avoided any distractions. They whispered softly, their voices drowned out by the noise of the machines. Above it all, the sound of sharp footsteps echoed. Each step carried authority and control, silencing the whispers instantly. The manager walked through the rows of workers, his stern gaze scanning every corner, searching for mistakes. His presence demanded silence, and it was clear that this was not a place for joy or celebration. But what happens when joy and authority collide in such a rigid world? Stay with us to uncover the unexpected. The toy factory, located in the heart of a bustling city, was home to two figures who could not have been more different. The first was the manager, a man who ruled with an iron fist. His presence was commanding, his sharp gaze sweeping across the factory floor, ensuring no worker strayed from their duties. His voice was cold and clipped, and his footsteps echoed like a warning bell. To him, the factory wasn't just a workplace. It was his kingdom. He believed in rules and order above all else, often at the cost of the workers' comfort and cheer. Then came Black Santa. He entered the factory quietly, but his presence was impossible to ignore. His warm smile and gentle demeanor stood out in the tense environment. Dressed in a bright red suit and wearing a shining Christmas hat, he greeted the workers as he passed, offering kind words and questions that showed genuine interest. "How's your family? Are you looking forward to the holidays?" His small gestures brought a glimmer of joy to the workers, even if only for a moment. Yet his appearance sparked whispers. Who was he? Why was he here? He seemed out of place, yet oddly at home. The contrast between the two figures was striking. One brought tension and silence, while the other brought warmth and quiet joy. Their paths were about to cross in a way no one could predict. The manager's stern gaze locked onto Black Santa. His cheerful demeanor and bright Christmas hat stood out like a flame in a quiet room. The workers, drawn to the warmth of Santa's kind words, smiled for the first time in days. This did not sit well with the manager. To him, this man was a distraction, a disturbance to the strict order he had worked so hard to maintain. He tightened his grip on the clipboard in his hand, his frustration quietly growing. The workers whispered, wondering how long it would take for their manager to act. The tension grew with every passing moment. Kindness and authority had begun a silent battle in the factory, and the first confrontation seemed inevitable. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Help us spread these meaningful tales. The factory hummed with life, machines roaring and workers moving with purpose. Black Santa made his way through the rows of workstations, his bright Christmas hat catching the light. His cheerful demeanor and warm words brought small moments of joy to the workers, who rarely had a reason to smile. As he paused to chat with them, the tension in the factory seemed to ease, if only briefly. However, this scene did not sit well with the manager. From his office window above the floor, he watched with growing irritation. To him, this man was not a bearer of joy, but a distraction. The laughter that followed Black Santa's kind words felt like a personal attack on his authority. His jaw tightened as he stepped out onto the factory floor, his heels clicking sharply against the concrete. As Black Santa approached another group of workers, the manager's voice rang out, stopping everyone in their tracks. "What do you think you're doing?" he barked, his tone icy. The workers froze, their eyes darting between the two men. Black Santa turned, his calm smile unfazed. "Just spreading some Christmas cheer," he replied, The manager's face darkened. "This is a workplace, not a holiday party," he snapped, gesturing at the man's Christmas hat. "You think you can waltz in here and disrupt my workers with your ridiculous antics? Take that silly hat and leave." The factory fell silent. The workers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to step in or stay silent. Black Santa stood tall, his calm presence contrasting with the manager's fiery demeanor. "I mean no harm," he said gently. "I only wanted to brighten their day." The factory fell silent. The workers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to step in or stay silent. Black Santa stood tall, his calm presence contrasting with the manager's fiery demeanor. "I mean no harm," he said gently. "I only wanted to brighten their day." But the manager wasn't interested in explanations. He pointed to the exit, his authority leaving no room for argument. Reluctantly, Black Santa nodded. "Very well," he said quietly, turning to leave. His departure was slow, his hat still shining brightly under the factory lights. The workers watched in stunned silence as he left the floor. Whispers soon followed, quiet but filled with tension. They couldn't understand why someone so kind had been treated so harshly. Meanwhile, the manager stood tall, believing he had restored order. But in truth, he had only deepened the divide between himself and the people he was meant to lead. Have you ever seen someone treated unfairly? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. The factory returned to its usual rhythm after Black Santa's quiet departure, but an unusual silence hung in the air. The machines hummed, and workers resumed their tasks, but the lightness brought by Black Santa's presence was gone. The cheerful moments he had created left behind a void that no one dared to acknowledge. Whispers filled the room as workers exchanged uneasy glances. "Who was he?" one whispered. "Why did the manager react so harshly?" another murmured. These questions spread like wildfire, sparking curiosity and unease among the workers. Many couldn't shake the feeling that Black Santa wasn't just any visitor. His kind words, calm demeanor, and the way he carried himself hinted at something more. The manager, however, stood tall and confident, satisfied with how he had restored order. He walked through the factory floor with sharp eyes, searching for any signs of disobedience. Yet, deep inside, a nagging thought lingered. There was something unsettling about Black Santa's unwavering calm, as though he knew something the manager didn't. The thought annoyed him, but he dismissed it, convincing himself he had made the right decision. Meanwhile, the whispers among the workers grew louder. "He seemed too confident for just a visitor," one worker remarked quietly. "Maybe he's someone important." Others nodded, their minds racing with possibilities. The tension in the factory became palpable, as though everyone was holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. Unbeknownst to the manager, his actions had set events in motion that could not be undone. Every word he had spoken and every decision he had made that day would soon come back to confront him in ways he could never imagine. The stage was being set for a revelation that would change everything. Now, the truth is about to unravel. Don't miss the next chapter. Like, share, and subscribe to stay with us as this powerful story unfolds. The factory floor buzzed with whispers, but above it all, Black Santa's departure left an unusual void. Workers couldn't shake the feeling that they had witnessed something significant. Questions began to spread. "Did you see the way he carried himself?" one worker asked quietly. "He didn't seem like just anyone." The curiosity grew stronger, fueled by how calmly Black Santa had left, even after being humiliated in front of everyone. Meanwhile, the manager paced in his office, his irritation bubbling beneath the surface. He felt triumphant about maintaining control, yet something gnawed at him. He replayed the scene in his mind, the unwavering calm in Black Santa's eyes, his composed demeanor. It unsettled him, though he couldn't explain why. "Just a nobody," he muttered under his breath, trying to convince himself. Subtle clues began to emerge. A worker near the entrance remembered seeing Black Santa arrive that morning, not through the employee entrance but the main office doors. Another worker recalled him signing a document in the manager's office just before walking onto the floor. These small details planted seeds of doubt in their minds. One worker dared to speak up during the break. "Do you think he could be someone important? Maybe someone who works with the owners?" The idea spread quickly, turning quiet whispers into growing speculation. The tension in the air thickened, and the once unshakable authority of the manager began to feel fragile. The workers didn't realize it yet, but the truth about Black Santa's identity was closer than they thought. Every whisper, every memory of the calm man in the bright hat brought them one step closer to the revelation that would soon turn their world upside down. The pieces are falling into place, but the big reveal is yet to come. Like, share, and subscribe to, witness how the truth changes everything. The day after the incident, the factory buzzed with curiosity and unease. Workers whispered among themselves, replaying the events in their minds. The tension on the factory floor was thick, and even the machine's steady hum felt different. No one dared to bring up the subject of Black Santa in front of the manager, whose stern demeanor had only grown colder. Yet the memory of the man in the Christmas hat lingered, sparking endless questions. As the workday progressed, an announcement echoed through the factory's speakers. "All employees, please gather in the main hall for an important meeting." The workers exchanged puzzled looks, their curiosity sparking once more. Meetings like this were rare and always meant something big was happening. The atmosphere shifted from unease to nervous anticipation as they made their way to the hall. The manager strode into the hall, his expression confident as he took his place at the front. He glanced at the workers, his authority seemingly unshaken. Then, to everyone's shock, the doors opened, and in walked Black Santa, now dressed in a sharp business suit. His Christmas hat was gone, replaced by an air of authority that silenced the room instantly. His presence alone commanded attention, leaving everyone stunned. The manager's jaw dropped as Black Santa calmly walked to the center of the room. "Good afternoon," he began, his voice steady and commanding. "Some of you may know me from yesterday, but I assure you, today, I am here in a different capacity." He paused, letting the tension build. "My name is Daniel Carter, and I am the new owner of this factory." Gasps filled the room. Workers stared in disbelief while the manager's face turned pale. Murmurs spread through the crowd, a mix of awe and embarrassment rippling across the room. Daniel's calm eyes scanned the crowd before settling on the manager. "I came here to observe how things are run," he said. "And I must say, I've learned a great deal about the culture here." The room fell into complete silence. Everyone could feel the weight of his words. Change was coming, and the manager realized too late that his actions would not go unnoticed. The truth is out, but the consequences remain. Like, share, and subscribe to see what happens next in this unfolding story of justice and redemption. The air in the hall grew heavy as Daniel Carter's words sank in. The workers stared at him, a mix of awe and respect in their eyes. The manager, however, looked frozen, his usual confidence replaced by visible unease. Daniel's calm but piercing gaze landed on him, and the room fell silent. "I came here undercover," Daniel began, his voice steady and authoritative, "to observe the culture and leadership of this factory. What I witnessed yesterday was deeply disappointing." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. The workers listened intently, some nodding in quiet agreement. Daniel turned to the workers. "You deserve to work in a place where respect and kindness are the foundation, not fear and intimidation. This factory cannot thrive without its people, and that starts with change." His words brought a glimmer of hope to the faces of the employees. Finally, Daniel addressed the manager directly. "Your actions were not just disrespectful to me, but also to the values this company stands for. Effective immediately, you will step down from your position and undergo leadership and inclusivity training." The manager's face turned pale, but he nodded, unable to argue with the man now holding the reins of the factory. The room erupted in quiet murmurs, relief and approval spreading among the workers. For the first time, they felt seen and valued. Daniel ended the meeting with a promise. "From this day forward, things will change. This factory will be a place of fairness, respect, and opportunity for all." As Daniel exited the hall, the workers exchanged smiles, their faith in their workplace slowly restored. The manager remained behind, his head bowed in thought, realizing this was a chance to redeem himself. Now, the justice has been served. But the journey isn't over. Like, share, and subscribe to follow more powerful stories like this one. The days following the meeting brought a wave of change to the factory. The workers arrived each morning with a renewed sense of hope, eager to see what the future held. The colorful decorations on the walls seemed brighter, reflecting the lighter atmosphere that Daniel Carter had promised. For the first time in years, laughter and chatter filled the factory floor, replacing the silence that had once ruled. The manager, now in a different role, spent his days reflecting on his actions. He had been given a chance to redeem himself, but the weight of his past behavior lingered heavily on his shoulders. Each training session on leadership and inclusivity opened his eyes to how his approach had stifled not only productivity, but also the happiness of his team. Slowly but surely, he began to change. He greeted workers with a nod, listened to their concerns, and showed a side of himself they had never seen before, one of humility and respect. Daniel Carter, meanwhile, became a familiar and inspiring presence in the factory. He made it a point to visit the floor regularly, speaking with workers and ensuring that his promises were being fulfilled. His vision of fairness and kindness began to take root, creating a culture where every individual felt valued. The workers, once afraid to speak up, now felt empowered to share their ideas and contribute to the factory's success. As the holiday season approached, Daniel gathered everyone in the main hall once more. This time, it was a celebration. He thanked the workers for their hard work and resilience, acknowledging the changes they had embraced in such a short time. "This factory is only as strong as its people," he said, his voice full of gratitude. "And together, we've shown that respect and kindness can transform any place." The manager, standing among the workers, felt a pang of gratitude himself. While his journey of redemption was far from over, he had been given an opportunity to change, not only for himself but for the team he once led with an iron fist. He resolved to continue learning and growing, proving that even the hardest hearts could be softened by understanding and compassion. The factory, once a place of tension and fear, became a beacon of hope. Its story spread far and wide, inspiring others to reflect on their own actions and workplaces. The workers left that day with smiles on their faces, ready to enjoy the holidays with their families, knowing they were part of something greater than themselves. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Help us spread the message of kindness and equality to inspire more positive change.